Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and saints, say with one voice. Saints, first of all, I want to just explain how humble I am to be up here. First of all, I was born and raised in the mission. My parents were born and raised in the mission. And when I graduated chiropractic school in 2012, I never thought in the world that I would be here representing the Sutton mission at a chiropractic school. So round of applause for the team that put this together. This is dream come true. So I don't have much time, so I'm going to get right to it. So I'm going to talk about chiropractic in the mission, and if you notice at the very bottom I wrote something called try me. And what I mean by that word try me is, you see I spelled it wrong. I spelled it T-R-I, because a lot of what I look at with philosophy, with the mission, whether it's spirituality, whether it's chiropractic, everything's kind of within like a triangle. So we'll talk about that. First of all, let's talk about the initial try, the trifecta of intuition. So I want to reach out to the chiropractic students that are out here. You guys are students. When it comes to seeing your first patient, do you ever remember the first time you walk in and you've got that fear that's within you? Why? Because you don't know. Let's talk about fear a little bit. What are we fearful of? Ghosts, snakes. Why are we fearful of these things? What? Because it's going to bite us? It's because it's going to scare us? But then, the moment we know what the next move is, we're not fearful anymore, are we? So saints, that's what the mission talks about. This is why we need to know who God is, because instead of living in God-fearing, we would actually be living in God-loving. At that point, you move from fearful to a faithful intuition. You start to become faithful. And at that point, as you start to practice as a student, as you start to practice as a doctor, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, it'll come to that point where a patient walks into your room and they just tell you maybe two things, and boom, you already know what the diagnosis is. At that point, you haven't just become faithful, you have now become blissful. You are so surrounded by the philosophy of chiropractic. You've been so surrounded, whether it's the philosophy of the Nirankari mission and God, that boom, it's just around you. You don't even think twice about it. This is a slide. We'll go back to it later on. We don't have much time. Let's talk about the chiropractic trifecta. We always talk about it. We have the 3 ways to treat health. We've got the mental emotional side, the chemical nutritional side, and the structural and physical side. We all know if we want to treat chemical, hey, what happens in Western medicine? We give them medications. We have to change someone's diet. When it comes to structural and physical, as chiropractors, what do? We adjust. We align the spine right back into place. But what I want to speak about is the mental and the emotional component of health. And that is how we can integrate the Nirankari mission in chiropractic. Now when I go ahead and look at the spiritual trifecta, there's 3 things that we all know. There's the mind, there's the body, and there's the soul. Let's not forget those 3. However, in the Nirankari mission, our trifecta is Seva, Simran, and Satsang. So now my question for you is, how can we take the spiritual trifecta of mind, body, and soul and combine it with the Nirankari trifecta of Seva, Simran, and Satsang? Let's talk about that. There's no difference. Number 1, I want to talk about Seva. We've heard all about this. All the chiropractic doctors that are going to India selflessly